I have four books on my February TBR, and yes, one of them is from Oprah's book club because when Oprah says to read something, I will read it because I'm a stooge for the billionaire class. Hey everyone, Professor August here, and today I'm going to talk about the four books on my February 2025 TBR. So we just started our classes at the college, and I forgot to warm up my vocal cords when I started teaching this week, and man, I'm going through it right now because this is my voice. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've ever watched Friends, but when Phoebe got sick and she thought she had a really nice voice to sing, that's what it sounds like to me, where I kind of wish this is how I always sound, but it's just deeper and raspier than normal. Um, Hopefully, it gets better by tomorrow because I have to go back in class and project for hours and hours as I teach. So we'll see how it goes. But the four books that I have this month for February are these. So let's go through them and see what we have. Good Girl by Aria Aber, or Dochter Khub in Farsi. Uh, this book has been getting such rave reviews, and of course, I had to pick it up. Aria Aber is a German, or I guess she's an Afghan German, and she lives in the United States now, so she's Afghan German American. She was born and raised in Germany, but her parents were immigrants from Afghanistan to Germany. And the book follows this character named Nila, who I think is about 19 years old in the book. She's born right around the time when the Berlin Wall comes down. And so I think the book takes place around 2008, 9, 10, something like that. And it follows her life in the underground sort of party scene, and she's a party girl. I feel like I'm 80 years old when I say she's a party girl, but yes, she's a party girl. She is artistic and does drugs and is trying to straddle a life between her artistic scene and her family life. So her family life is much more conservative given that her family is Muslim and from Afghanistan, and her social life is a lot more, I don't know, out there. And so she's navigating these two worlds. So I'm really excited to read this to see how Aber explains the character of Nila and what comes out at the end of this novel. So, yes, this should be really, really good. Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. Yes, that's the title. Um, I had never heard of this book. I don't really follow Oprah's book club, or at least I guess I did when I was really young, because every day I'd get home from school and Oprah was on at 3 p.m. And so, of course, she was kind of like always in the background. And once in a while, she'd do her Oprah's book club and she'd show a book. And so, like, I was aware of the book club. And I think I've actually read a few of the novels and books that are on the list. I just haven't checked it in a really long time. And then I saw a review of the book on CBS, like one of the news shows, and there was an interview with Eckhart Tolle, the author, and I thought, this sounds really interesting because the way that he describes it is that there's the true self and the ego is what gives us our thoughts, but there's a difference between the thoughts that we have and who we are as a human being. And he came to this conclusion after, a thought popped into his head when he was suicidal and realized, okay, is the thought the real me, or am I just observing these thoughts that are coming into my head? And the true me is having to contend with these thoughts. So I thought that was really interesting because I've kind of like intuitively had this distinction. So a lot, I like everybody has thoughts, everybody has that voice in their heads where we have discomfort in certain situations, and then we can sort of remove ourselves and sort of observe what's happening to us and the thoughts that we're having in those situations. So I think this will be an interesting read just to see how, I don't know, how much of this I've already intuited, and if there's like factual basis around it, whether this is all experiential, so it's his perspective. But it got rave reviews, so I'm going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Sahar Mustafah's The Beauty of Your Face. I can't wait to read this. So I've already assigned this to my students in my literature course, and it's been on my to read list for a very long time. So the book was published in 2020, and it follows this character named Afaf, who is she's a Palestinian immigrant to the United States. She works at an Islamic school in Chicago. And so I kind of knew the background of the story from reviews when it first came out. And I lived in Chicago for a long time. So it's always kind of been, when books are set in Chicago, I have a really nice time just revisiting. And so the story follows her teaching as, I guess she's the principal at this Islamic school, and then this white supremacist decides to shoot up the school. So she hides, and the story is told through like remembrance or recollections of her past. So it'll be really interesting to see a Palestinian story based in Chicago and dealing with the issues of identity, race, religion, and also white supremacy, the alt-right growing in the United States. So I'm excited to read this, and then I'm excited to have long conversations with my students about it. Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. I I think this book was written for me. I don't know. Um, it just kind of popped up on different social media feeds, and I started reading around it and thought this sounds really damn fascinating. I've known of Okorafor for a long time. I've just never picked up any of her books, and so this is the first one that I'll read from her. This is the story about Zilu, who is a writer, I think based in Chicago, and her career is not going well. Her entire family is disappointed with her decision to be a writer and an artistic person rather than, I don't know, like a doctor or engineer or something. And one day she decides to write a story just for herself, and she calls it Rusted Robots. And that story takes place in Lagos in Nigeria. So it's essentially a novel within a novel. So the main linear plot is Zilu writing, and then there's the novel itself that she's writing, which is about robots and AI in Lagos. So I think it's going to be fascinating to read this, and I can't wait to get through it and just review it. It'll be really good. All right, so that's it. We'll see how well I do with these 4 books. I did more than what I said I was going to do in January. I thought I was going to read 3 in January and read 5. So now I have 4. I'm being a little ambitious for February. But let's see how I do. Hopefully I get to all the books that I want. And if I do and I have more time to read others, I will. But let's see how it goes. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.
Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Catch you in the next video.